Thank you for joining us. For those of you that I haven't met before, although I see quite a few familiar faces, I'm Debbie McCorney. I used to be a teacher at John Burroughs High School for 14 years. I taught students with learning disabilities. And then I think it was 7 years ago now, I transitioned out of the classroom into the position I'm in now, which is a teacher on special assignment in instructional technology. It's a mouthful, but I get to do cool things like this, hold professional development for the teachers and students and staff in the district. I have spent a lot of time the last few years building a lot of tutorials, and hopefully you have all seen our district website, our professional development website. We have lots of different tutorials and trainings, including the one for this session, which is for the Canva for Education. So there is a lot to learn on that website. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend checking it out. Canva itself is a graphic design website, but you can create so many things with this platform, way more than we're going to get into today. As you can see, all the different types of things, we can use it as a whiteboard. We can make presentations similar to like a Google Slides or PowerPoint. A lot of social media people use Canva to create their posts for Instagram. We can make videos in Canva now. And we can take any of our paper, like things you would normally print out. We can also animate them and turn them into a GIF or a GIF, depending on how you'd like to pronounce it. So there are a lot of things that we can do with it. Today's training is going to be about starting with the basics, helping you see how to kind of get around the website and to understand how to play around a little bit, because that is 100% going to be the best way for you to learn how to use the program, is to just dive in and play. And so we can create really nice, beautiful things without having to spend a ton of time and spend any money, because you have the educator account. So most of you, if you signed in with your Burbank USD account, you should have automatically gotten an educator account. If it didn't work, there is a process where you can submit a picture of your credential or some other proof that you are in education. If you're having trouble with that part, just let me know. But shall we dive in? The first thing I wanted to do is show you how to find the template. So over on the left-hand side, there are a whole host of templates that you can look at. There are education-specific templates, but I have actually found, and we'll click through a few of these. We can browse by subject. So if you're looking for maybe some, I do computer, so let's look for some different computer things, all kinds of different things here. We have specifically, I know somebody mentioned worksheets. They want to see about making cute worksheets for their students. Maybe there's a keyboard that you want to just print out. These are all the types of things that I know a lot of you spend a lot of money going to Teachers Pay Teachers and Pinterest and Etsy and paying other people to make these. I'd love it if you make this a first stop shop and see if there's something that you can use from here first before you spend your money, and then start to learn some of the design elements and start to create your own stuff as well. So I know a lot of you now are using Google Classroom, so I actually want to play today with some Google Classroom banner templates. If we just go to the all templates on the side, I have yet to find it. But if we search for Google Classroom banner, that is where I found our Welcome to Our Classroom banner that somebody saw earlier. And it is a nice, simple one. So I am going to click on that one. And I'm going to customize this template. And it will open up for me. To get into Canva, you just want to sign up with your Burbank USD account. So the question was, how do we get signed into Canva originally? So if you go to canva.com and go to login, you can log in with your email and sign in with your Burbank USD account to create your account that way. Or you're going to probably have to say create a new account, but use your Burbank USD account. So I have a template open. You guys are all educators, and so you probably know that one of the best ways to teach something new is to model that behavior, right? And so it's the same for using these templates. We can use all these different templates as models to get ideas for how we can create our own things. So if I hover my mouse over any of these elements, we see that purple box show up. So it's showing me that each of these things are their own element that I can click on, move, delete, resize, do anything with. So I'm going to start just by playing with this plain black font. When I click on the font, do we see that a toolbar shows up at the top? And there's all kinds of things that we can do with this. The simplest thing I want to do is change the text color. So if I click on the A with the text underneath, and the toolbar is going to be pretty similar to things that you're comfortable with already using in Word or slides. In terms of, underlining, the tools are pretty similar in that sense. What I like about this is it gives us colors from the palette of the document. So it lets us know like, oh, these are some of the other colors that are already used in this document. So let me choose this brown instead. Maybe I want to switch that so that it's brown instead. We have all the same resize options. We have all of those options, and we always have our beautiful undo button or Command or Control Z to get us right back to where we were. Okay. This font is a little fancier. What we find when we go to this font, where am I at? Oh, sorry, I want to go to the effects. So in the effects, we have just no background, nothing fancy. We can do outline. What this one was splice, but you notice that the color is different now. So instead of being that pretty green, I have this gray color now, but I can fix that pretty easily. Actually, that is not the green that it was. That's not it either. We'll stick with this one for now. I feel like it was lighter. Was it lighter? Anyways, so we can do a lot of fun things with the fonts. We can even change it into a curve if we want. So you can see how you can start with something simple, click around, play around with it, and make it so it looks totally different. Our font styles are here. So apricots we can see is our classroom font. Just like in Google, we have like quite a few different fonts that we can choose from. We can search for something in particular. We can search by what type of writing we want. Do we want like a handwriting? Do we want fonts that are displays, kind of like that one where it's big? All right, so we can play around with all the different fonts. Very, very much I have taught myself this program by clicking around, playing with things, seeing how they work. And look, I notice now that because I changed this, my word welcome is behind my plant. So one of the things you're going to see a lot in Canva designs is layering. We layer elements on top of each other. And so right now I have a couple of options with this welcome. I can make it smaller. This font must just be bigger. So I can shrink it that way. I can also shrink the text size up here. Just click that down. Or perhaps instead of having this plant in front of the welcome font, I can change the position and move that to the back. And so now that's sitting behind that font. All these things are things that we can play with, goof around with, make it look how we want it to look. All these things are movable. It will cut off the edge. And that's the other thing you'll notice a lot about some of these design elements. I want to go back and show you a different one that I had here. I picked that one to play with because it wasn't very complex. But if you look at this one, this element, see how it's shaped like this? But they actually use it off the edge to give us that wavy thing. So a lot of these elements are actually a full image that we've just placed along the edge of the canvas to give it that that look where it's going off the edge. So we can do a lot of things. And if we wanted to switch this, I want this to be over on the other side. I can flip the image so it goes the other direction. Put it over here instead. So the first thing that I would recommend that you do is if you want to make a worksheet, find a template of a worksheet and just click around in there, play around in there. All of these things are things you can change and edit. We can even change the colors of this clip art. So if I click on the picture of the computer, up here I get some colors. So I can change, instead of this dark green, maybe I want a blue computer. And this one I'm gonna go with the light blue. And so you see that each of the elements of this computer now have changed color. So that's one of the nice things about the clip art is you're not necessarily stuck with the color that it is in the computer. You have a lot more flexibility. Now I know that sometimes flexibility can lead to frustration. Like it's more work than you want to do. You want to just have a template that's there and just use it. And you can, right? You could pick a template exactly as it is and just use it exactly as it is. But I want to make sure that you know that you have all of these, the ability to do all of these things. So I want to go back to my original welcome to our classroom. And let me pause. It looks like we might have, no, we're good. I was checking our chat box to see if there were any questions. You know, these plants are nice, but I'm not really a plant person. I'm really more of a cat person. So I'm going to get rid of the plants and see if I can't find a nice cat image instead. So templates is the first option here. Elements is where we find all the other little pieces of bits and things that we want to include. We have different lines and shapes. So you can see all, and I mean, there are really, really, really so many things. Great question. Somebody's asking in the chat, how do I know if I have an educator account? On some of these templates, you see this graduation cap and an EDU. If you have instead dollar signs there, then your account is not an EDU account. Or if you got the free trial of the pro account, that's probably a crown showing in that corner. So that's how you can tell if you have the EDU account. Otherwise, you have a few, if you don't have the educator account, you can still use Canva. You can still create things, but a lot of these elements that we're going to look at cost money. And in the beginning, before they had the educator accounts, you know, it's $1 for one clip bar here, $1 here, and you could dollar bill yourself to death making a flyer, and before you know it, it's a very expensive worksheet that you've created. So it's very nice that we have access to these things for free now. So we have lines and shapes we can include. We have graphics. There are stickers that include motion. So I remember I mentioned that we can make like a moving image or moving document. So a GIF or a GIF that you could put in your classroom banners can actually, your Google Classroom banners can actually have motion that will work for you to upload those. So that's something to play with. I'm just going to go ahead and type cat up here. And I'm cheating a little bit because I did already decide that I was going to use this image. What I really like about the way this looks, I'm going to shrink this a little bit, is because it's coming out, this is all in a white background. It really looked to me like the cat is coming right through the banner, which I think is pretty clever. So very simple to add different elements to our document. Maybe I want to add this paw print. And you see that the color already changed for us because it was white. It wasn't going to show. Hey. Why will it not let me move it? There we go. All right, and I can click on that again and change it to whatever color I decide I want for it to be in my image. We can twist things around, put it at a different angle. So all sorts of elements. We can put actual photos. So there are photos that we can put as well. How rude. I said cats and it gave me a dog. Dogs. I must have clicked on something else. Let's see this little one. Now, there are some pretty fancy things that you can do with photo images. I'm going to show you two and move the little kitten out of the way. One of the things we can do is we can put a frame around the outside of a photo. Doesn't work with clip art, but it will work with a photo. So perhaps I want to put my cute kitten. This one looks good. We'll do this one. And if we hover over, bring the image and hover over one of those frames, it puts our picture into that frame. So we now have that sort of jagged edge instead, or maybe I want to, well, will it just switch for me? No. Would have to lay it in there and take it out and redo it. So frames are kind of cool, a fun way to play with different things. You can also upload your own images. And so that's what I did for, where's it at? This one. This is a clip art of a computer from Canva that has a little blank space inside that I then took a screenshot and of our website so that I was able to put our exact website right into that flyer. So we can upload our own images into Canva and use your own images. I do want to caution you, we do need to follow fair use and Creative Commons licensing for the images that we are using, meaning you should not just go to the internet and find any image that's available when you do a Google search and download it and use it. If you don't know where that image came from and you don't know if what the usage rights, what kind of license there are for those images, you shouldn't be using those ones. I would venture to guess that if you search within the Canva bar, you will probably be able to find something that will meet your needs that you can use legally. So I would definitely recommend that you start there first, or that you're using images that you took yourself that you know are accessible. Okay. Let's talk about some text. We played with the font color a little bit on these ones. I want to talk about, let me back up and show you what I just did here. Each type of template, like this one is a Google Classroom banner, is designed to be this particular size so that when you upload it to Google Classroom, it will fit perfectly. We can always add more pages to our design. And I use this as a design tool very often. If I have something that is pretty darn close to what I think I want it to look like, but I want to fiddle with something, I will often duplicate that page and fiddle with this one until I know that it's right so that I don't mess everything up before I can come back to it. So I'm going to undo that for now, but we can add more pages. And then later you decide which one do you want to download? What do you want to do with it? But I wanted to add a new page so we could have a blank canvas so we could look at some of our text options. Again, it's not just a matter of let's add a text box. They have a lot of really nice, it's almost like word art from Google Slides or from PowerPoint. Let's go with this one. Okay, so I found that one, I click on it. Again, we can change the color in all of these elements. Each element, if you can click on it, you can see that those are all individual elements. So had you wanted to create this design yourself, you would have had to put a single text box here, another one here, and then each line around the outside. But let's do, I think if I can hold command, nope, I wanted to do all of them, but let's see. Well, actually, let's keep that black, but I'm going to go ahead and change my circle on the outside, make a nice rainbow around the outside. All right, so as I click on each one, I'm able to edit the color to meet my needs for whatever it is that I'm creating. So there are a lot of really fun text options. We can also add in a heading, subheading, or body text, right? So it gives you a default text box so that you can see like a good starting point. What else? This one has some layers of colors. So again, I'm imagining that we have, so we have the echo, and our echo is showing as a different color. And then we can change that background color if we wanted, make that nice and purple instead. And the front color we can give some old school Laker colors. So really, I cannot emphasize enough that playing around with the tools, find a template as a starting point and fiddle around with it. When you click on the different things, or even if you just hover, the purple box will come up. Click on those and check out the toolbar that comes up above there. We'll talk about the animate in a little bit. Position will be part of that layering. You can send something forward or backward. So if you need layering effects. Transparency, let's talk about transparency. Transparency will make this image so that it's not so dark. So if you wanted to put a picture in the background of some font, that'll fiddle with that. And actually, so I am on a photo image right now. Let's play a little bit with some of the editing options in this photo. Actually, let me get a different photo. We'll pick the dog. So when I go to edit the image, there are so many different things you can do with the images in this program. If you know about color adjustment and you want to play fine tune, you can do it from here. But we can change, you know, you're used to filters, right? From social media, your Instagram, you can add all sorts of filters. This is similar to what I did with that laptop. It's called a mock-up because it's going to give us this background and then put the image that we have there in that mock-up. So if you want parents to check their phones for whatever it is that you're sending them, you can put it in there. I'm going to undo both of those. This one, I think, is pretty fantastic that they have it built in. This is background remover. So if you have ever had an image and you wanted to get rid of the background so that you can layer it over the top, it's not perfect. It's not going to get every fuzzy little line of our dog here, but let's see how it does. It'll do better with an image that has very clear cut lines. This grass in the front may not be treated very well. Let's see. So not bad how it cuts our dog off, right? And then, or cuts the background out, and then we can layer our dog over the top of things. So that's our background remover. And that can be found in the edit image option. Okay. I have spewed a lot of things at you. Take a minute. If you're on the program, click around a little bit, write down, jot down some notes, and put any question in the chat. I want to give you a minute to let your brain sort of decompress before I move on to the next part of what I want to show you. Put any questions in the chat if you have them. If I can pull you back, I have added another blank page here. So we talked about templates. I'm kind of just working our way down the left side here. We have talked about templates and how you can use that to find already pre-made things as a launching off board. We talked about elements where we can find different graphics, shapes. And by the way, these shapes, so where did it go? I closed it. My flyer for this professional development. These blue things that are behind the title, those are just shapes. So those I found in the element section. And I took, oh, I don't even know where I found it. Might have just been the circle that I stretched out. But I used that, changed the color, and put it as a background. So you can use this just plain shapes as background things for your font, and for even put images on top of there. So those are not something to overlook because they're not as fancy. You can do some really great design elements with shapes and lines. We have different graphics and stickers, photos, videos. We even have audio, like I mentioned. We're not going to go into it too much in this tutorial, actually at all in this tutorial, but you can make actually videos in here like you can in iMovie. Tables, so all sorts of things. They also have collections of images. I thought this was kind of interesting. They have like a classroom collection. So there's little images that might go together on a worksheet. We talked about uploading your own files briefly, and then we talked about different text options. So I want to jump back over to our banners and talk about backgrounds. Not every background here is going to work well depending on the size of your canvas. So for example, this one doesn't really work because the part is way at the bottom. And when I click on it and go to edit image, it doesn't even show it. Oh, I think I did crop last time. Yeah, you can see that the image is there, but there's no way to really move it and just get that part up in the background. So you'll have to play around with that a little bit. This one looks pretty cool as a background on that, but we have all sorts of different patterns. And again, we can change some of the colors, right? If we want to make it more of a blue background, there is a lot of flexibility for adjustment with color within Canva that you don't have in a tool like Google Slides or PowerPoint. So you have really nice images that you can then actually edit. So a lot of different background types. Good for the holiday season coming up. We get some pumpkins in there. I don't know that we can change these colors. No, I didn't think so. So because it's an image, it's not going to do it. But there are a lot of background options for you as well. What we can do is we use that transparency feature that I talked about. So if you want the pumpkins in the background, but you don't want them so bold, we can fade them out so that it becomes more of a background, transparent to our text. So then when we put our text on top, it will actually pop out. So if I didn't have that transparency, if this was here, our font will get lost, but we can definitely lower our transparency, still have that nice image in the background, but our text will be more bold to stand out there. The image editing, I actually already played with and showed you a little bit. That was next on my list, but we already hit it. I don't think I missed anything there. Let's see what happens. Oh, so we have all sorts of different colors that we can add in there. There we go. Make them glow. So honestly, there are so many different things that you can play with that it really is a matter of find a starting place and then just fiddle around with it and play around with it. I think one of the most important things about creating a worksheet or a flyer, I want to go actually to one of the templates that I think is really cool. I may switch my Tech Tuesday newsletter from my Google Slides over to a newsletter in Canva. We'll see. I think there are a lot of really nice options as starting points for a classroom newsletter so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel from scratch, but everything is very editable. right? Even each of these little elements is just a circle that they put down in the corner. And so as you start to play and see how other people design things, and even this image too, it's a full image, but you see that we use that edge space of the page. So there's a lot of graphic design elements that if you have not spent a lot of time learning about graphic design, you can recognize something that looks right when you see it, but you don't necessarily know how to get there from scratch. And that's why having these templates is so helpful, because you can start with something that is already very visually appealing and start to learn how to do layering and how to put one image on one side and some text, and then image on the other side and text, so that it's more balanced, like I did with my flyer, right? Instead of having all of the text just on one side and both images on the other, I balanced it out with image on each side. So how do you learn how to do those things? How do you learn how to do any of this? Canva actually has a really great design school or a help center. So if you are not sure, like you think, okay, this is fun, there's some templates I like, but I would like some more practice, some hands-on practice. If you go to our PD website, I picked out some of the really, what I think are some of the good starting places. There are lots more if you go into the design school. These ones are interactive lessons, and I want to open one up to show you what it is. It's actually just opens up the Canva canvas for you, and it gives you some information. And so it tells us here, it's on dark backgrounds, it's better if you make your text light or white. And then it gives you an option to practice how to do it. So here's a dark text on a dark background. It's hard to read. And there's a hint down at the bottom. So it's telling me to click on the text and then look for the A that has the color underneath it, which is up here. And then we're going to change it to a lighter color. Now, it doesn't have to be white. Even one of these light grays will work very nicely, and we can see. So there are several of these interactive tutorials that I have found to be quite useful in going through them to just get some design ideas and learn a little bit more about how the program works. Here's another one that shows how the frame works, so you can practice that, right? It says place the image of the woman on the grid. So we just click on the image, put it right over the grid, and as I do it, you can see that it's going to pop right in there. So you can practice how to do some of the different elements. This one, they want us to pick a shape and put it over the pizza and then add some text to it. So type in the chat for me if you remember where I could find a shape. What should I click on that toolbar on the left? If I want to find a shape to put on there. Julie got it. Good. We're going to go find the elements section. Tell me what shape I should put for on top of our pizza. We want a square, a circle, a triangle. What do you guys want? I see triangle first before anything. Let's find one. Okay. Maybe I'm going to turn it this direction. And do we see these purple lines that come up as I move this around? Those are guides that will help us sort of line things up. So right now, I was going to point to the screen as if you can see it. Right now, if I have it here, it's lined up centered with the word do. So it helps me to visually, graphically place something in a spot that looks nice. The only problem with the fact that I turn this sideways is I'm pretty sure the text is going to go the other direction. Yeah, sure is. So much for being creative that way. And we had talked about transparency. So transparency of this is also going to be helpful. And maybe instead of putting this right up in that corner, maybe I'm going to put it down here in this corner. I don't know. You just play around with different things. And again, maybe we'll make our font more of a light color on there and make it bold and pick a different. Oh, let's pick that one. No. It's called fat face for eating our pizza. There we go. So you can go through the different things and practice. This one is cute too. Oh, we didn't talk about this cropping. So let's look at this one. This one is telling me to adjust the image within the frame. So if I click on the image, we have some crop options. I did show you flip. So if I want the dog to be looking the other direction, I can flip him horizontally or flip him back, or if we want him upside down. But when we do crop, we can see that this frame is actually just showing us a small portion of that image. So I can just pick it up and move our adorable dog a little bit higher. And rule of thirds in terms of photography and how to frame an image like this. You see how we have our crosshairs and our image has the 9 squares. It's desirable to have eyes or focal points in these crosshairs. So instead of putting it here, we're going to put it where the eyes are up on the crosses there, and it's going to be a little bit more visually appealing. Maybe get it a little lower so his nose is down on the other one. So a lot of different things that we can do in terms of rearranging and organizing. I can go into some other tutorials if you want. That is the basics of what I wanted to show you today. I wanted to make sure we click through all of our different like toolbars here on the left, played around with some different things. Mostly, I hope that you walk away feeling less intimidated to try, because I know when I first open just this page here, it's very overwhelming. There's a lot there. And so maybe all you want is a math worksheet. We can also just search right in that Google search bar. You don't have to go through specific templates. We can narrow those searches down to like, oh, I want kindergarten ones. Actually, let me undo that. There was elementary. You know, I have a lot of elementary folks here. All right, so maybe there's something there that is like a really great starting point for us. Like, all right, we've been working on subtraction, but you know what? We've been working on subtraction with 3-digit numbers. And so I want instead this to be 129. And like we can change that very simply and very quickly. And then our cute worksheet is ready to go. Oh, I know what else we should talk about. It's really great if we create this really beautiful thing on our computer, but how do we get it out of the computer, right? What do we do with it once it's done? So depending on what it is, I'm going to go back to that. Where are we at? That's not the one. This original design that I opened and started playing with. First thing to know is your header, your image, if you open a template, will be named by the name of the template. And some of the templates don't really mean anything. So green, playful, computer, class, Google, classroom, header, like that is not necessarily going to mean anything to me in the future. So one of the first things you should do is put a name that when you go to search for this later, you're going to be able to find it. Then when you're ready, we can hit the share button. It's not really that you're going to share it with other people digitally. You can, but we have a download option, which is what you're going to want to do. If it's an image, like for a Google Classroom banner, I think Google Classroom takes both PNG and JPEG. If one of you wants to Google that for me on the backside and confirm for us, that would be great. Can just do Google Classroom banner PNG. You've used PNG? Okay, yeah, I thought so. So you can download as a PNG or a JPEG to do an upload to your Google Classroom banner. If you're doing a worksheet that you're going to print out, just do a PDF. If you end up making like a GIF, like you want the animation, let's see what the animation looks like on this silly thing. Right, so it just has like the types of animations like you would have in PowerPoint, like old school PowerPoint, when we used to make our presentations and make everything animate because we were clicking the button for each thing to come through. So if you do that and you have something move in, then you can download it as a GIF and it will animate. You could post it to social media that way. As it will look more like a moving, it will be like a reel, more of a moving image. So it catches more attention. It's not something that I think will be super relevant to the classroom, but I could be wrong if one of you uses them and has an idea as to why it's super relevant to the classroom. I would love to hear about it. But for most of you, I think you will be either printing them out or saving them as a JPEG, or even save it as a PDF, right? If you want to put it into Google Classroom as an assignment, or you want to send it, your newsletter you want to send home to the families, you could just download it as a PDF and attach it however you're going to attach it, or however you send your newsletters home normally. Any questions? Things I didn't cover? I'm happy to stay on. We were scheduled originally to go all the way till 5:30. If you want to stay on and play, and I can stay so that you can ask questions as you go, I'm happy to do that. Or if you have any other like aha moments that you want to share in the chat and let us know, or things that you wished I had covered today that I haven't yet, anything like that. Transparent background. So I would imagine it will automatically, let's go, did I end up leaving a background in there? Let's make the background so that it's not transparent. I would imagine it will automatically make the background a little bit more transparent so that when you print it, it doesn't use up so much of your printer ink. Sometimes things look vibrant and lovely on the computer, but let's see. Oh, it didn't. It didn't really make it transparent. So I am not sure. I would have to look more into that to find out what that means. Elizabeth, you have a question?
No, I was just going to comment about the transparent background.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So say you you wanted to make, I don't know, just like have a text that was just the text, like rodeo, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to export that with a transparent background to, like, say, put on an image in another program or in another place.
Got it. So that's more not if we're printing as a PDF, but more as if we're doing like an SVG.
Yeah, you would need to do a PNG, and then the transparent background, it would basically like just give you the shape or the thing. So
I got it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Amazing. Erica, I heard that we can put GIFs as Google Classroom backgrounds, but I have never actually tried it. So that is something that I can play with and get back to you for sure. I'll make a note to see if there's some trick. It might, I know that if the image is not the right size, it will give you a hard time uploading it to Google Classroom banners. I don't know if that is the issue.
Yeah, I tried it a couple different ways. So I can get the picture to upload, but I tried uploading, it won't let me upload it as a video, or even when I download it as a picture, it's still just showing the regular picture. So I can upload it, I just can't, it's not moving or anything.
Yeah. And you have it saved as a GIF?
Oh, okay, maybe that's it.
You had it saved as an MP4?
I did, but it wouldn't let me upload an MP4.
Yeah, try the GIF file is different. It should be a .gif.
Okay.
I think.
All right. Yeah, let me try that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mary Lou, I see your question about if I created a chart in Google Docs, can I upload it and add graphics? I would, depending on what your chart and what your doc looks like, I would recommend that you try and save it as a JPEG. And then I think you could upload it into Canva and put that kind of as the background in Canva. And then you can layer other pictures and graphics and things on top of it. That would be the route I would go, just as a first thought on that. Let me go into Google Classroom and try it. Oh, what happened? Because I had 3 images in there, which this is maybe actually kind of a cool deal. Because I had 3 images in there, the GIF that it created was, I think, cycling through each of the images. Let's see what happens. So instead of it animating the individual thing, I think it's going to flip. Yeah. So that may be fun, actually. If you, I know some teachers have students create Google Classroom banners as like an activity. And you can get the exact, in fact, the canvas size. You can change the Google Slides into a canvas size. Where are we at? I forget the exact canvas size. No, I'll have to look it up. There's an exact size, and you can change the Google slide to that exact size, and the students could create a classroom banner. And then if you save all those as this is sounding more complicated as I talk it out, but you could save them all as JPEGs, put them into one Canva, and then animate it so that the Google Classroom banners would rotate through there. But it also sounds incredibly distracting. I could imagine your first graders just staring at the Google Classroom banner, waiting for theirs to come up. So while it is possible, I've talked myself out of it, feeling like it's a good idea. So something to consider, though. So had there only been one, in fact, let's go back. Let me just delete these other pages. And let me animate this one. Well, what is that for? It's not letting me download any of them. Maybe because I have the same name. Oh. Maybe it was just having an issue. If you are ready to go, please don't feel like you need to stick around. I will definitely stick around and keep poking around. You are getting a glimpse into how I do my best work. I just play and fiddle and learn and discover. Very, very happy to when I have time to do such things. All right, let's see now. Yep. So it does need to be downloaded as a GIF. And we'll need to make sure we expand that a little bit. And I'm 100% leaving my cats on that demo classroom. Oh, what happened? I didn't hit save. Try again. Please let me know also if you end up making something amazing. Invite me to your Google Classroom so I can see your cute new Google Classroom banner. Send me a copy of your amazing worksheet that you found. I'm happy to see it all. Lisa, did you find anything good?
I did. I found this part whole worksheet that I just tried to play around and change the image, and I wanted to tilt the image, and I couldn't remember.
So if you click on the image, there's a little curvy arrow at the bottom. you have to click on that curvy arrow and then like twist the picture to make it go side to side. Let me
Okay,
show,
let me
I
try.
can show you on mine, or did you see it on yours?
Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna bring mine back up. I don't know where. What did I do?
You still have the Google Meet in front of you?
Yeah, I'm looking at. Okay, so you say click on the picture.
See that circle,
Oh yes.
arrows?